I want to thank Oceana and Sierra Club for hosting us today. I want to thank my colleagues in the Senate who are here with me and have been tremendous advocates in this regard, joining with me on the fight on the floor, and you'll hear from them shortly, as well as my colleagues from the House who have been passionate on this. You know, the numbers are in. In the last 3 months, the top 5 oil companies, just the top 5, earned a combined $33 billion. Do you know how many families earning $50,000 a year it would take to make that much money in 1 year? Let alone in the last 3 months, it would take 660,000 American families earning $50,000 each a year to be able to make $33 billion, well more than 500,000 families. And a part of the taxes that those 660,000 families pay goes to a $21 billion taxpayer giveaway subsidy to those top big 5 oil companies every year. I have to say there is no logic that could ever make these numbers add up. None whatsoever. Now, this is not class warfare. This is common sense. We want the oil companies and their shareholders to do well, but the marketplace has dictated that already. They'll make about $144 billion by the end of the year in profits, not proceeds, in profits. So they do not need our collective monies as American taxpayers to further promote their profits. We should not be spending these $21 billion taxes to unfairly reward their tremendous success. We're simply looking for a little fairness. We're here today to say that the super oil's super subsidies should be targeted by the Supercommittee and ended now, and to put that money directly towards deficit reduction. It's time to stand up for American families. As I said, by the end of the summer, the big 5 oil companies had already earned over $100 billion in profits. Let me put that in perspective for you. If you saved $1 million a year, put it in a coffee can, and buried it in the backyard every year, it would take you 1,000 years to save $1 billion. If you take 100,000 years, it would take you 100,000 years to save $100 billion, which means you'd need one heck of a big backyard. So how much money are we talking about? We're talking about $1 million a year since the first Homo sapiens roamed the earth 100,000 years ago. Look, the bottom line is we do not believe that the oil industry needs to get from the American taxpayers further subsidies and tax breaks to achieve what the marketplace is doing already. One of these tax breaks, and this is how outrageous it is, one of these tax breaks basically says oil companies go abroad to explore foreign opportunities for drilling oil, and instead of paying what they pay here in the United States, a royalty, which is a license fee, they go and tell those countries, don't charge us a license fee, don't charge us a royalty, charge us a tax. Why? Because they come back to the United States and fully deduct those taxes against the taxes owed here in America, which means that all of us as American taxpayers subsidize the exploration of foreign oil for these big 5 oil companies. That does not make sense. So it seems to me that, in fact, this is a time in which the Supercommittee is talking about some really super decisions and some really big cuts. Well, it can start off with big oil. They do not need our collective monies. And just these breaks that I'm talking about add up to $21 billion. There are others, and I certainly would applaud those, but this is a view that has already been adopted by a majority in the United States Senate. We had, I believe, 53 votes for this, not a filibuster-proof vote, but we clearly had a majority vote and a majority view of the Senate. I hope that majority view becomes the view of the Supercommittee and that we end the subsidies to big oil now.